Welcome again. I see Keith, Judith, Dilly, Fene, Palden, Judy, Shrinamala, and Duncan. Welcome to you. We'll see others will just join us. While we're waiting, I'll just do the share screen. Oops. Sorry, give me a moment to organize the shared screen. There we are. Good. Welcome, Christine, Simon. Hello. So, is the shared screen working correctly? Can you see the iPad screen? Okay, thanks. I'll just give the Mangala Sutta. With you. Right. So, in fact, during all this, I think maybe we could all see Christine kind of busily practicing on her own while muted. Well done, Christine. So we pretty much got to the end of the first line last time. So what I'll do, I'll just read it through once more. Can you please forgive me in advance if there's distractions? The reason is I'm having to leave the front door and door to the garden entirely open, and I've got gardeners here. I've also got to leave everything open because for some reason there's an Amazon delivery, and they said they couldn't deliver it because the business was closed. I don't know what they meant. But anyway, I'm just now got to leave all the doors open so they don't rush off a third time without having delivered what I'm waiting for. So I'll try to keep my mind entirely with you, but I've got these little things tugging away behind. I shall try to enter into a state of ekaggata, if not quite samadhi, so as to keep my mind with you. Yeah, welcome, Sanyu. Okay. Oh, more coming in. So, kanti chaso vachasata samananan chadasanam kale na dhamma sakacha etam mangalamuttamam. I can't remember whether I mentioned last time that this route in samana, and we have it in the word samana is often used in the Pali scriptures when the Buddha is talking about an ascetic. When he was talking about the bhikkhus, the reference is usually to specifically the bhikkhus of his own sangha, but a samana is a broader set that includes bhikkhus, but it also all other, basically wandering holy men, mendicants, renunciates. The word actually derives from a root, shall call up here in the Moni Williams dictionary. The word derives from the root Sanskrit root shram, of which the basic meaning is becoming weary and also making an effort. So the underlying notion of the shramana in Sanskrit and samana in Pali is the idea that you carry on making a very serious effort, even to the point of being tired. And even when you get tired, that's when you really keep on carrying on. So this underlying effort of not sitting back and resting, but carrying on with the exertion is the underlying original meaning of samana, shramana, and then it came to mean generally one who does one who leads the renunciant life. And dasanam means, I mean, literally just seeing, but it's very often used in the sense of keeping the company of somebody, being in their company, consorting with them. So samananam dasanam, and the seeing or keeping the company of renunciants. Kalena Dhammasakacha. This is Kalena, instrumental form. It could equally well have been put in the locative Kale. So Kale at the time, Kalena by the time. When it's used in this sense, it means at the right time, at appropriate times. And for example, um, there are in the Theravada, there are the strict rules of Vinaya. Sorry, excuse me 1 second. Yeah, sorry about that. The rules of the Vinaya about eating and when a monk is and is not allowed to eat. So eating at the wrong time is akale bhujanam, the akale, literally at non-time. Kala time, kale at a time. Akale means literally at non-time, which means at the wrong time. So here, kalena at the right time or at appropriate times. Remember, you can use the instrumental or the locative. Dhammasaka. Um, Sakacha, it's from the root, the kat root, meaning just to talk. Um, so in Sanskrit, sankatya, Pali sakacha, just means talking together. So dhamma sakacha means engaging in dhamma talk, engaging in dhamma discussion. Etam mangalam uttamam. This is the highest blessing, the greatest blessing. So what is it about Su Sakacha? Oh, that's right. Yeah, it seems I just wrote a wrong word before. Um, this katayati, Pali kateti, um, it comes in Old English. So and so quoth he, I mean said he from the past tense, quod he in Old English. It's from that same root, and the word to quote somebody is also from that same root, meaning speech. Even older, it's from the idea of kat, and katam means how, and katayati means the explaining how, and therefore talking, explaining how things were. That's just how the word came to mean talking, from howing, giving the whys and the wherefores, and then by extension discussion about it. And the uttamam I'm sure I've explained this before. So was that you speaking, Shri Animala?
Sorry.
Oh, I thought you were going to explain Uttama for us. Uttama is Uttara and Uttama. And it follows actually quite a precise progression, Uttara, Uttama, that we see even in modern English, because means out or up, out or up. So Uttara is the comparative form, Uttara, which is actually directly cognate with our English outer and utter. And the Uttama is directly cognate, that's the superlative form. Uttama is cognate with our modern English utmost. So uttara, uttama, out, outer slash utter, and utmost. So it's the most outer, that beyond which there is nothing. So I guess all these doors I've had to leave open. There's now an intermediate door banging. Sorry about that. I'll be right back with you. So I'll read it through slowly once more, and then any queries or comments that you have, and then we can do some recitation of it. Khanti chasu vachasata samananam chadasanam kalena dhamma sakacha etam mangalamuttamam. So before we have a recitation, any comments or queries about anything? Right. So we can start our recitations then. I'm not quite sure whether to depart from the order in which you appear in the gallery or whether to confer upon Christine the advantage of being able to use right now the practice that we saw her having just before we started. Christine, why don't you start anyway? Give us a recitation of this verse.
I will. It's lovely. Anti tasovatasata samananan tadasanam kalena dhamma sakacha eta mangalamuttamam.
That was pretty good. That was really pretty good. Can you just pronounce this pada again with special attention to vowel length?
Long sounds, maybe.
To the longs, special attention to the vowel lengths.
Kalena dhamma sakacha.
Okay, yes.
Sakacha. Sakacha. Kalena dhamma sakacha.
That was very good. The first time there'd been was mostly pretty good. The first time there was a slight pull of the phonetics of English. You did shorten that at, so sakacha, but sakacha. Remember, if it wants to be long in Pali, it stays long. Whatever we would do with the equivalent syllable in English. Okay, thank you, Christine. That was good. Round to you, Keith.
Anti cha sowa katsata samananang cha dasanang palena dhamma sakacha etang mangalam mutamang.
Right. Can you pronounce this last pada again? You're muted, Keith.
Sorry.
Here we are.
Etang mangalam mutamang.
It was difficult to discern whether you were holding that M a bit.
Okay, well,
oops, sorry. It should flow straight in. This M is held. Etam mangalam. We've got a clear double M here. Here, clear double M here. Etam mangalam. But here we've got a final M, not an anuswara, flowing straight into the next word that begins with a vowel. Mangalamuttamang. So if you said Mangalam Uttamam, that would actually be, I'm being finicky here, but it would be very slightly wrong. Mangalamuttamam, Mangalamuttamam.
so if there is a consonant at the end of the word, is it not lengthened a little bit?
Do you mean if there's an M at the end of a word?
Sorry, a plain M.
Okay. The rule generally is this. Where you got a word ending in an M, and the next word immediately following in the same line or in the same sentence begins with a consonant, then it's written as a subdotted M and uswara, and the sound of it just, it takes on the sound of the following consonant, as in samanananjadasanam. This is written with an N with a tilde. It could equally correctly be written with the subdotted M, but would be pronounced the same. Now, what happens when you get a word ending in an M, but the next word begins with a vowel, the immediately following word in the same string of words begins with a vowel? The general rule is becomes a normal M, and it would follow straight in without lengthening. Mangalamuttamam, amu, mangalamuttamam. That's the normal rule in prose, and it's the rule that's mostly followed in poetry. But here's the twist. In Sanskrit, that rule is always followed. If you've got a final M and the next word begins with a vowel, it's always a pure M, never a lengthening. Amu mangalamuttamam, mangalamuttamam. In Pali, in poetry, the poet has the option to lengthen that syllable by making it a subdotted M. In this particular case, it is not done. I'm just going to call up here. Hang on, file. Browse. I'm just going to call up a very good example of this, and it doesn't make any difference to the meaning, but for purposes of chanting, it is quite important. So sorry, let me just I'm trying to call up. Be right with you. I'm calling up actually the Karaniya Metta Sutta. Here we are. Welcome, Abu Mateen. Welcome. If you look at the first line of the Karaniya Metta Sutta, Karanyamatta kusalena yantam santam padam abhisamecha. There's no dot there. Padam abhisamecha. And here Karanyamatta, Karanyamatta. No subdotted M, so it carries straight on. Karanyamatta kusalena However, there are other parts in the actually, I've miswritten that there. Oops, sorry. In our chanting book, it's written like that. From somewhere, I think, could you mute if you're not? We're getting quite a loud background noise. Can't see. Might it be from your system, Abdul Mateen? Could you mute because there's quite a strong background noise coming from somewhere?
I think I discussed it before with you that we pronounce it as ang. Ang uttamang.
Sorry, yeah, that's about the actual pronunciation of it. We're here talking about whether it creates a heavy syllable or a short syllable. So here,
Yeah.
for example, in normal prose, this will be asambadhamavera masapattam, asambadhamavera masapattam. However, the poet here has wanted to make it a long syllable, and therefore it's written as a subdotted M, the anuswara M, and so it becomes averang, asambadhang, averang, asapatang.
Yeah. Like this. Asambadang averang.
Asapatam. Exactly so, Abdul Mateen. So just bear in mind that where you see a subdotted M followed by a vowel, remember, you are not allowed to do that in Sanskrit. It will just, if an M followed by a vowel will remain an M. But it can be, and normally in Pali prose you wouldn't see it, but in Pali poetry you have the option to lengthen that syllable by turning the M into anuswara, into the subdotted M. And that would make the difference then between karaniyamatta. If this M here that I've highlighted was subdotted, it would be karaniyam atta kusalena, but it's karaniyamata atta kusalena, karaniyamata kusalena.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make any difference at all to the meaning. It's purely for the sake of the poetic meter. And in fact, it only really makes a difference if you're chanting, and particularly if you're chanting in unison with others. If you get the length of the syllable wrong, then you get out of step, and you have to get back into step. So here, back to Keith's question. The normal prose rule is followed here, so it's not an anuswara because it's followed by a vowel and it's a short syllable. Lamu, mangalamu, mangalamuttamang. Okay, so we're round to, thank you, Keith. We're round to Judith, please.
Okay, something's happened to the screen. It's shrunk.
Sorry? Oh, the screen has shrunk, is it?
Yeah, mine has. Oh, okay, that's better, yes.
Okay, right.
It disappeared for a time. So, Kanti
Remember, the C, sorry, I'll stop you. The C is always a ch. It's just by spelling convention. Yeah. The Sanskrit and Pali sound ch. We just represent as a C. It's a pure scholarly convention. So survacha, survachasata.
So Kanti chasuvakasata.
Survachasata.
Survachasata.
That's it, yeah.
Samananam dasanam. Kalena dhamma sarka cha etamangalamutamam.
Okay, right. Now, can you say this word here, the Galena, but with very careful attention to the long Galena.
Kalena Dhammasakatra.
So that's, yeah, because there's this tendency for native English speakers. You got that long A right, but as a native English speaker, it's a bit unnatural for us to say Galena. We tend to make it Galena. But avoid that temptation. If it's long, Galena.
Kalena.
And a mistake, I've mentioned it before, many people often make, for example, in chanting the 5 precepts. So in Game Sumicha Chara, you often hear people chanting Game Sumicha Chara, which is wrong. It's a long Micha Chara. It's unnatural for us as native English speakers to say Micha Chara, but you've just got to make yourself do it, because if you don't, then you get out of step with everyone else who's chanting with you. So here, so just say, can you pronounce this pada once again, Judith? Galena Dhammasakacha.
Kalena Dhammasakatra.
Okay, very good. That was very good. Thanks then, Judith. Thank you.
James, you've deleted.
Okay.
I think you've accidentally deleted the ch out of Sovachastata in the first line.
Yeah, the C, you have deleted it on the first
I
line.
have accidentally deleted it. Is it back again for you now?
Thank you.
Thank you. A mistake. Where were we? Yes, Dilly, we're round to you, please.
Kanti च सोवचस्सता समनानं च दस्सनं कालेन धम्मसाकच्चा एतं मङ्गलमुत्तमम्.
Very good, very nice, Dilly. Now, immediately after you, I want to hear Shri Animala recital chant. So could you do it as well, Shri Animala?
Please, yeah. Kanti cha sovasata samananam cha dasanam kalena dhammasakacha etam mangalamuttamam.
Okay, fine. You both pronounced that correctly. I am aware that in the phonetics of Sinhala, if you were pronouncing Suvachasata, in northern India, this long A would be distinctly long, Suvachasata. In Sinhala, you would tend to pronounce it with an open A, but shorter, not Suvachasata, but Suvachasata, like an A open, but quite short. But that's a feature of Sinhala. But I noticed that you both, while reciting that, did it with the correct long R at the end. Okay, thank you to you both. Fene, we're round to you.
Okay. Tanti cha savachasata samananam cha dasanam kalena dhammasakacha itam mangalamuttamam.
Right, can you just say this? Suvachasata, da 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 da, Suvachasata.
Sovachasata.
Okay, now that line again. I shall say it first. Kanti cha Suvachasata samananam dasanam.
Kanti cha sovachasata samanan. Okay, I lose the count of the ends. Kanti sachova. Kanti cha sovachasata samananam cha dasanam.
That came out very nicely indeed, Fene. Good, excellent. Thank you. Halden, your turn.
Kanti Sasovachastata Samananam Chadasanam Kalena Dhammasakacha etam mangalamuttamam.
Okay, actually, that's have you been working on your pronunciation by any chance? Because I see these hints of Derbyshire are getting, fewer and fewer, and it's becoming more and more like Ganges Valley pronunciation.
No, I had the advantage of going after Dilly and Trianamala, which is very helpful.
Okay, right, very good then. That certainly helps. Okay, Judy. Judy, please. We're round to you.
Anticha sovachasata samananan dasanam kalena dhamma sakacha etang mangalanguttamang.
Right. Can you just do this highlighted pada again?
Kalena dhamma sakacha
Kalena dhammasakacha.
kalena dhamma sakacha
Right. You want to make this
dhamma
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 short, but with a very distinctly pronounced double N. Dhamma, dhamma.
dhamma
Now, you can actually measure the length of time that it takes to say these things. So,
dhamma.
the phrase the ka takes exactly the same length of time to say as the dham. It is actually a distinct length of time, and in Sanskrit phonetics, the ancient Sanskrit grammarians talked about the matras, which literally means the measures. They are measures of time. So kalen dhammasakacha.
Kalena dhamma sakacha.
That was very good. That was very good. I'm just going to go back to Keith for a moment and invite Keith to do it with his very precise Morse code notation. So just this pada with that precise long and short Morse code.
Kalena dhamma sakacha.
That was very good. That was it. That was excellent. Good, thank you. Simon, we're round to you.
Anticha sovachasata samananam chadasanam kalena dhammasa kacha etam mangalamuttamam.
Right. Now, here, this slightly refined point. Can you say samananancha?
Samananancha.
Right. Those three N's are all pronounced differently. It doesn't matter terribly if you don't pronounce them correctly. Because, for example, many modern Indian speakers, this subdotted N, which is a N sound, they would often pronounce it the same as the dental N. Bear well in mind that, let me call up the iPad, that we have the dental sounds that are transliterated in Roman script as the da and the da. And these are in, Devanagari, da and da. They are very, very distinct sounds to the native Indian ear, as distinctive as our English words, tanks and thanks. They're completely distinct sounds, and the third to the English ear. In theory, sorry, I'm having. I'm having a problem with my pen again. And it was because I had a problem with my pen that I ordered something specially for you. Give me a moment, I'm going to be right back with you. No longer will I rely on my electronic pen behaving itself. I've now got a whiteboard behind me. Transition it properly. I'll learn to position it better soon, but yeah. So we've got this, oops. We've got the t and the t, respectively written in that way in the Devanagari script. We also have the n and the n. The difference is when in normal English, when we pronounce a T, it's kind of halfway between the dental d and the recurrent d. Likewise with our N. And that's the in Devanagari, that's n and n. It very often happens, certainly among Hindi speakers, that although they will always be very careful to distinguish between t and t. And I think the same in Sinhala, is that right? Shri and Nimala, you distinguish in t and t. Do they sound different sounds to you? T, t.
Yes.
Okay, right.
Yeah, because you're learning Sanskrit. Yeah.
Yeah, so they are different sounds. The Thais, incidentally, don't quite manage to make the distinction. They will pronounce ta and ta as the same because that distinction doesn't exist, for example, in Thai. When it occurs between vowels, a lot of modern speakers, certainly in North India, won't actually bother to always make the distinction da and da, but they will often not make the distinction in n and n. I prefer to try and make it, but if you can't make it, it doesn't matter terribly much. But we just see in this word, where are we? Samanananchadasanam. It's samarna. Very strictly pronouncing, not samana, but samarna. Okay then, so that was Simon done. Abdul Mateen, would you be able to recite this verse for us, please?
Yes. Kanti cha sovachasata samananincha dasanang kalena dhamma sakacha etam mangalamuttamang.
Okay, excellent. Tell me, Abdul Mateen, I'm aware, of course, that in Urdu we have a very distinct difference between ta and ta. Do you have the same distinction in your native Pashto? Do you distinguish in ta, say tat and tat, for example?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. So then would be easy for you to both to produce and to hear the distinctions. For example, this we have atta and sorry, two separate words. So atta with the dental T, atta, which means your objective, your aim, your goal, as in karaniyam atta kusalena, and with a subdotted T makes a different word as atta, which means 8. In modern Hindi it would be art, meaning 8. So atta. So see, the English here might not distinguish the sounds very well, but they're entirely separate sounds for the Indian ear. Right, and finally, we're round to you, Sanyu, if you could recite the verse for us.
Kanti cha sovachasata samananam cha dasanam kalena dhamma sakacha etam manglam muktaman.
Okay, thank you, Sanyu, and I see you were making a great effort to pronounce the correct dhamma, which of course you don't do in Burmese, and you were getting it right. So could you do this this pada, just once more, Kalena Dhamma Sakacha.
Kalena Dhamma Sakacha.
That was very good indeed. That was excellent. Thank you. So before we move on from this verse 10 of the Mangala Sutta, if there are any further any comments or queries, I'll be very happy to deal with them now. Otherwise, we can pass on to the Dhammapada. Simon, please.
Could I just ask about the Sarkacha? Because I tried looking this one up before and didn't get very far with it.
Sorry, the sound's coming through a bit bumpy and blurred to my end.
Can you hear now?
Slightly better.
I tried looking up a term before to do with Sarkacha, and it's this idea of kateti or katayati. He tells a story, he recites, he says. And you said it's to do with katam, how.
Exactly. Yeah. That seems to have been the origin of it.
So it makes sense to say that a story is really just a how, a kind of a how it happened.
Exactly. In fact, in English, we tend to say what happened, but say how it happened, what happened. Again, broadly the same kind of thing. But that is the underlying idea behind kateti.
Because there's this term that I saw, which is vigata katankato, which is free of doubt, certain. So that would mean presumably, and I couldn't look it up because obviously the dictionary just gives you the separate bits, but that would presumably mean that how asking has gone away. Is that correct?
Oh, vigata katankata.
Yeah.
Exactly, yes. Vigata, gone away. Katang, how. Kata, speaking. So vigata katankata would mean literally that your kata, your speaking, even your own inner mental speaking of katam, how, is vigata, gone away. Or you are a person whose katam kata has gone, whose how asking has gone.
So katankata in effect could just mean doubt, or I mean, does it stand alone like that?
Katankata. I have a feeling it might. Let me just call up our feeling it might. See if I can call it up in our dictionary.
Yeah, I've got it. It does. Yeah, Sutta Nipata 411.
Oh, so under which entry did you look? I've looked on Katankata.
Well, I checked. I couldn't get it on the PED, so I went through.
Oh, here we are. I've got it. Look.
Oh, okay.
Look under.
Got it.
Yeah. Katam, and then under the compounds, Katankata, saying how. Katam, how, kata, saying, i.e., doubt, uncertainty, unsettled mind.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, for compounds, I think Sutta Central is a bit better because you go straight to the Sutta and then you can click on the word.
Oh, sure, yes, it is, and that will take you into it by a different route. So we've got the katankata, meaning doubt or uncertainty. This adjective vigata, literally gone away. It's very frequently found in a compound, meaning if you are free of something. And in fact, I've got the Metta Sutta up here. Let me call it up again. You see in verse 9, Tittang charan sinnova sayanova yavatasa vigatamidhu. So long as one is free of drowsiness. Remember, this is a compound adjective. Vigata, gone away, midho, drowsiness. A compound adjective, vigata midho, is a person whose drowsiness has gone away. So it's a compound adjective describing the person. So equally then, that example that you gave, Simon, if you're vigata katankato, then you are one whose doubt has been removed. It suggests that you did previously have doubt, but that it has now gone away from you. So you are a departed / doubt, somebody whose doubt has departed from him.
Which it has indeed for myself now with that point. Thank you.
I am very pleased to be the cause of this vigata katang kata. Right. Was there anything else arising out of this? And we can pass on to the Dhammapada. Right. Let us move on then. Dhammapada. So as before, we'll be looking at these two verses in conjunction. That's 10.3 and 10.4, because they're very, very similar. Enlarge a bit on my screen. Sukha kamani bhutani yodandena vihinsati attano sukhame sano pechaso nalabhate sukham. Sukha kamani bhutani yodandena vihinsati attano sukhame sano pechaso nalabhate sukham. Sukha kamani bhutani is what's known as an equational sentence. Sorry, an equational sentence, which simply means A is B. Sukha kamani bhutani could exist as a freestanding, independent sentence in its own right. So it means happiness desiring are beings, with the verb to be just omitted in this case, as very often happens. This is sukha kama is a possessive compound. That means a person who has a desire for happiness, a person whose kama, whose wish, is happiness. So sukha on its own is a noun, kama, desire, on its own is a noun. Put them both together and it makes an adjective, a person who desires happiness. So sukha kama. Bhutani, from the root bhu, I think my iPad has come back into service now. So from the root bhu, meaning to be, we have the past. Sorry, playing up again. Back to. Do you see my screen? If for the thing behind me, do you see it better if I unshare screen?
Can try.
Is that better?
Yeah.
When I'm sharing screen, does my mugshot go very small and you see everything else big? Is that what happens?
It does, but you can adjust your own screen so they get larger or smaller. So
Oh,
we can adjust it.
Yeah.
okay. Can you now see this whiteboard with full screen? Okay. Sorry, I just sorry for destroying. Got to go and get the rubber now, the eraser. So.
If you can pin on the big screen, you can see better. Yeah.
No. So, here a bit disjointed. We've got our root bhu, meaning to be. It makes its past participle regularly by simply adding ta. So you get bhuta. Now the basic meaning of bhuta is just means being. And then by extension, it means something that has come into being, not just been in the past, but it has arisen into being. And then by extension, it also means that just a being, like a living being. Now, mostly, it will be a masculine word, but you often find it used in the neuter without any distinction of meaning at all. And that's how we find it in this verse. We can see it's neuter because it's not bhuta, but bhutani, which is the neuter plural ending. So although it refers to living beings, it is treated as a neuter. And because it's treated as a neuter here, bhutani, then the adjective that describes it also has to be in the neuter plural. So sukhakamani bhutani, happiness-seeking are beings, as the equivalent word are is left out here. It would have been grammatically equally correct to treat it as a masculine noun, in which case it would have been sukhakama bhuta. Both would have been grammatically equally correct.
James, in another context, with a verb, could it just mean happiness desiring beings?
If you had these words in isolation, then that would be right. In isolation, you would say, well, either it's a complete sentence with the equivalent of the verb to be left out, which is okay and normal, or it could just be noun plus adjective, sukha kamani bhutani, and then you'd want to see what's the rest of the sentence, what is being said about them. What has led me to the conclusion here that this is intended as a sentence in its own right, beings are happiness desirers, is because we get a natural break here. Sukha kamani bhutani, that's a statement being made. Then yodam vihingsati, whoever harms them or hurts them with a stick. So we've got a new subject of a sentence here, yo, meaning whoever. So sukha kamani bhutani yodandena vihingsati wouldn't make sense as a single sentence. but it would make sense if you split it into two separate sentences. Sukha kamani bhutani, that's your opening statement. Beings are happiness seekers. Then, following statement, whoever harms them with a stick. Picture suna nalapete sukham, having gone beyond, he will not obtain happiness. Simon.
Yeah, it's actually, although grammatically that's the case, it's actually quite a profound change, because I initially read this when I saw it before as there are these beings that might just happen to be seeking happiness, and if you go and punish them with a stick, or if you punish them, harm them with punishment, then you won't be happy in the future. And that does kind of make sense. Let sleeping dogs lie, otherwise you yourself won't be happy later. But if you take that as you're saying, just as a sentence, that all beings seek happiness, it then puts the emphasis back on whoever does that. So it means that you yourself will not be able to seek that happiness. It really emphasizes the second line, doesn't it?
Do take your point. In fact, I might even come round slightly cautiously, not admitting it yet. I might come round cautiously to your point of view. But to me, I tell you why the version, why I'm sticking, not suggesting I'm right. I'm simply saying why I am, even in my potential ignorance, of sticking to it. Is this? I think this is meant to making a general statement about everybody. If the sukha kamani bhutani vihinsati, okay, sukha kamani bhutani could, in theory, actually be the object of the vihinsati. So who harms pleasure-seeking or happiness-seeking beings with a stick? That suggests that if there are beings who are not seekers of their own happiness, then it's all right.
Sorry, can I just interrupt?
Please.
What I'm saying is exactly in agreement with you. I'm just saying it makes it much more profound. It's saying, in effect, you're a pleasure-seeking being. Don't go around hitting other creatures with a stick, because you won't get that pleasure. It's universal. It's a universal law. So yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I'm just think you should make more of it, because it's such a profound change to the meaning of the verse.
So would you alter this provisional translation here?
Your idea that it is just a standalone sentence, all beings, sukha kamani bhutani, yeah, that stands alone. Having marked that, because you yourself are a pleasure-seeking being, if you want to get that pleasure, don't go around laying about yourself with a stick, because otherwise you won't get it. And that's what I'm saying, is that's much more profound and in accordance with other things we've seen in the Dhammapada, than just saying, if there happen to be beings that are seeking pleasure, those are the ones you should leave alone. That's less of you. So yeah, I'm agreeing. I'm just saying, I think you should make more of it, because it is a very profound change.
Okay, fine. I'm very glad we're on the same page there. So yeah. So I mean, I'm glad Simon supports me here. I think we've got this sukha kamani bhutani is meant to be a profound statement applicable to the whole of life, both humans and any kind of sentient life. So look upon the whole of life, all living beings, as being sukha kamani. With that in mind, now adjust your moral conduct in that way. Good. I'm glad we're funny how you kind of get a bit on the defensive if you think that somebody isn't agreeing with you.
The translation I've got, James, is translating it differently, and I mean I'm agreeing with you. And who was it was just talking? Sorry, I wasn't looking at the screen. Simon, I was agreeing with you, and I agree with you and Simon. That makes more sense, but it's The translation I've got, this is the John Ross Carter one, says, "Who with a rod does hurt beings who desire ease," which,
Yeah,
but the sense of it is we all want to be happy. If you
that's
go
right.
around hitting, Simon said, if you go around hitting people with sticks, that's not going to make you happy.
Yeah, I mean, so can you just read out that first line of the pronunciation of the translation again, Paladin?
It says, "Who with a rod does hurt beings who desire ease."
Yeah.
While himself looking for ease, he having departed, ease does not get. I mean, it's really clunky and it doesn't work. It doesn't seem to fit the.
Yeah. Okay, I mean, from the point of view of pure grammar, that translation that Paladin has just read out, whoever hurts beings who desire ease, from the point of view of pure grammar and sentence structure, it is equally correct. But here, I think we've just got to seek for the meaning, and when we have these two alternative ways of construing that sentence, we see that one gives a profounder meaning. Good. I'm glad we are all on the same page. Actually, this just remembered something years and years ago during my days in the law. It happened at the Oxford Crown Court. I was prosecuting some miscreant who was defending himself. It was some trivial offence. He was, an elderly fellow, a bit of a ne'er-do-well. But anyway, he was defending himself, and I think the judge and the magistrates, there wasn't a jury there, took a little bit of pity on him, and found that he was not guilty. But I don't think he heard very well, or just assumed that everyone was against him. He thought that he'd been found guilty. So he started from the dock, started screaming and abusing the judge. And the judge burst out laughing and said, "No, stop, look, we're agreeing with you. You're not guilty. Calm down. All right, we're agreeing." Oh. Goodness me, years, that was back in the 70s.
I've also got the Valerie Roebuck translation. She does exactly the same thing, interestingly enough.
So how does Valerie put it?
"The one who, desiring happiness for himself, harms with the rod beings who desire happiness will have no happiness hereafter."
I might have
Don't
to
like
have
it, though. Don't like it.
I might have to, well, I'd see if I can get to, I'll probably be seeing Valerie within the course of the next few days anyway, but you've got to be very careful. You've got to be very careful how you talk to Valerie. Maybe I'll let it go. Maybe I should just ask her as if I really don't know.
You could say that your students have asked you this.
I could say
what
that.
You could blame us.
I can try that. Please, Abdul Mateen, come in.
Yeah, I will try. Sukha Kamani Bhutani is a different, is a separate. Sukha Kamani Bhutani. Those whoever does not hurt with whoever from beings. Sukha Kamani, desiring happiness, Bhutani beings. Whoever. Dandena with his danda, we also use in Pashto danda. And stick.
We use the same word, stick, yeah.
Naing sati, they don't harms, they don't harms only.
Yes.
So means first one, Sukha Khamani Bhutani is, if we translate separately, then they don't hurt with the sticks, only with a simple translation. Then the next one, Adthano Sukhame Sano. They are desiring for, searching for happiness. Pechatso Labate Sukham. After death, they will get sukh or peace.
Nalabhate Sukham will not get happiness. I take your point, Abdul Mateen. However, we've got the problem with that one, that we've got Sukha Kamani Bhutani, which is a plural.
Neutral plural.
It's a neutral. It's a neutral plural, but the main thing is it's a plural. If the verb, if that was to be the subject of the vihingsati, would have to be sukha kamani bhutani yani dandana vihingsanti. So the sukha kamani bhutani has either got to be a separate sentence or the object of that verb. It can't be the subject of that verb. That's one thing it can't be, simply because vihing masculine singular, vihingsati singular verb, but sukha kamani bhutani is plural. So if that were the subject of the verb vihingsati, it would have to be vihingsanti. So we know that it can be a separate sentence or the object of the verb, but it cannot be the subject of that verb, because we'd have the plural bhutani clashing with the singular vihingsati. So I hope that deals with your query, Abdul Mateen.
Yeah.
Okay,
And translated.
Right.
With whoever. So Kamani Bhutani, if we translate separately, not connected with the next part of the sentence.
Exactly so. Yeah, that I think is how we've all generally been agreeing just now, that it should be translated, treated as a separate statement. This Sukha Kamani Bhutani, that is a separate statement, an important statement about the whole of life. Now, bearing that statement in mind, you then proceeds to give a moral injunction of what to do.
Is it usual to leave out the verb in a sentence like that, Jane?
It is. It's very common indeed. It can be either left in, put in, or left out. I mean, we're seeing it the whole time. If you even look back to our beloved Metta Sutta, Karaniya Matta Kusalena, Karaniyam, to be done, Atta Kusalena, by one who is skilled in the goal, skilled in seeking the goal. So it could be translated as is to be done, or this is to be done. So this, what you might call the copulative verb, A is be, or the equational verb, is very frequently left out. And it's not weird to do so. It
would have been less ambiguous as a general statement if they'd put the word sabbe in and then used the masculine, wouldn't it, for the meter? Sabbe sukha kama bhutta.
Oops, hang on, what do I... Are you still with me?
Yes.
That's funny, I've kind of lost you.
Oh, all of us, or just me?
All of you? Oh, I'm back. I somehow can reduce my Zoom screen to nothing. Back. Okay, I've got you back now. Sorry, this door's still banging. I do apologize up and down.
Interestingly, the now discredited Roebuck version is shared by everybody on Sutta Central. I think there are half a dozen different versions, and they're all saying the older form. If you harm those beings who are seeking, I think the minority view here is correct.
I think okay. So as we said, on a matter of pure language and grammar, they're both equally valid, but I think that the collective moral wisdom of this gathering has come to the conclusion that it should be treated as a separate statement. And you often find that with these slightly ambiguous things in Pali, and same in Sanskrit, that or less so in Sanskrit, but it still happens. That you look for two meanings, and you find one is really something very ordinary. Why does he say that? But then there's another meaning, just slightly interpreted differently. He said, ah, now that really is making a statement. And another case, again, been back to the Metta Sutta several times now, is this this word in the first line, Sakko jucha sujucha suvacho chassa mudu anatimani suvacho. That's vacha speaking, suvacha is often translated as having sweet speech, speaking nicely. There is a much more profound interpretation of that word, meaning easy to speak to, meaning he won't get all upset if you tell him off. If a senior monk, say, or senior person advises him on his conduct, he won't bribe, how dare you to talk to me like that? He will welcome admonition. So anyone can speak nicely. They put their mind to it. But on the other hand, not everyone can accept admonition gracefully. And that's why I tend to think that the suvacho, accepting of admonition, is the better interpretation. Though, as often happens, we might be invited to hold both in our minds at the same time. It does often happen.
What's significant about this in the context is that if you look at a lot of the stuff we've done already in the preceding chapters of the Dhammapada, a lot of it is about just little one-liners. Be careful or you will fall into suffering. So
yes,
a lot more of that than there is of sophisticated logic and cosmology. It's like the type of stuff that you would remember if you just memorized a couple of lines. And so it's much more in common with like, be careful or you'll get the stick yourself. It's that kind of thing.
it is very much. I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, this the Dhammapada is just like there are these verses drawn together almost certainly from all sorts of sources and origins. In fact, in the commentaries on the Dhammapada, you more often than not will find that each verse, or sometimes a group of a couple of verses, but it's either one or very, very small number, say, this verse arose out of the following incident, and when he witnessed this happening, or the Buddha was asked this question, the Buddha said, and then there was that one verse. So it was meant to be kind of a brief moral instruction in response to a particular situation that arose. So yes, Simon, it is really a series of easily memorable kind of moral aphorisms.
Apparently, these two verses arise from the Buddha seeing some boys tormenting a snake, and he gives them this teaching.
He seeing two boys tormenting a snake. Now, okay, that's excellent now. I mean, not that they should have been tormenting a snake, but this really puts it in context, because we normally might not have much regard for the feelings of snakes. But we're now being reminded that even snakes are seekers of their own sukha. Therefore, we have to equate ourselves with snakes, which is part of the moral teaching. You put yourself in the position not only of other people, but even of the animals. We are all sukha seekers. So yeah, thank you for that, Paladin.
Just to make another very quick point, not to do with grammar, but there's another kind of episode where the Buddha intervenes where some boys are tormenting little fish for no purpose. And I think it was Bhikkhu Bodhi who pointed out that nowhere else in the canon does the Buddha say you should stop doing that. When people come and ask him things, he says this is how you should behave. So if you become a monk, then you should follow the Vinaya.
Mm-hmm.
Ask him how to behave, he will tell you. But unlike Jesus, for example, he never intervened and said, stop doing this. I've seen you doing this and you need to stop. That's an extreme. Well, Bhikkhu Bodhi can only find one example. So Paladin's found another, which is really good. So that in itself is really significant, that he was prepared, if he saw gratuitous cruelty, to step in and just prevent it from happening.
So you said, sorry, not sure I heard well. On this occasion with the fish, the Buddha actually stepped in and said, stop.
Yes, he used it for one of these Udana type things when he stepped,
Okay, right, yes, yeah.
you're doing this, don't do it.
Mhm.
All beings are seeking their happiness.
Right. Can you remember, or do you have with you the reference to that story?
I don't. It's a sutta. I'll send it to you.
Okay, if you could please, that would be helpful. So so we're just gone past one. So sukha kamani bhutani yodandena vihingsati. Just look at this word hings. It means, the root means just causing hurt or harm. You remember Mahatma Gandhi, his great his motto was ahimsa, literally not causing hurt/harm, so any kind of hurt or harm. And the vi, with the prefix vi here, it's probably just an intensive meaning. In fact, I think it's in the next verse, it's just used without the vi, hingsati. In reality, the meaning is the same. So yudandena vihingsati, whoever hurts with a stick. I tend to think that dandena doesn't necessarily quite mean punishment here, because punishment has an element of justice, at least can be done in an orderly way. I tend to think that in this particular verse, danda is just is the reference is not exactly to judicial punishment as such, but just to whacking people with a stick, just causing gratuitous harm. But that's my own private passing thought.
It fits with the snake story, though, doesn't it? You wouldn't be punishing a snake particularly.
You would not be, unless the snake had bitten you and you wanted to punish the snake. But I take your point. It just sounds like gratuitous hurting of the poor snakes. So, Christine.
I thought I'd put in here because the version of the Dhammapada that I have, which came from our Vihara, has stories attached to each of the verses. So I have the snake story attached.
Right, okay, good.
So all I can say is, I guess I'm wondering whether the stories that are put alongside each verse are if you like, the seed stories or the stories that might have caused that verse to be written. I don't know.
Yeah, according to the Theravada tradition, that is the case. But sometimes it's a little bit difficult to reconstruct afterwards whether the story was made up to fit the verse or the verse was recited in response to an incident that was taking place. Maybe some, maybe the other. The Dhammapada appears to be canonical, whereas the stories around it, we just don't know whether they were just pious made up stories that we really don't know. I shall maintain a noble silence on the subject. I think as a matter of history, it's left open.
I may go back to the introduction and see if they have any wise words there.
I think Valerie Roebuck says they come from the commentary, so somebody's taken stories from other places that are appropriate and included them as a sort of explanatory commentary to the Dhammapada.
Actually, I better then have another look at Valerie Roebuck's in introduction, and if you can find any further words of wisdom, Christine, to share with us next time,
I will do what I can.
Okay, very good.
Anyway,
Okay, thank you. Also, see you next week, which will be the last class of the term. But I should mention, you probably did you see the email I sent yesterday evening? I'm undertaking kind of a major Pali teaching thing starting in September. I'm going to get a bit overwhelmed by keeping both of these weekly classes going, Pali and Sanskrit, as well as that. But equally, I don't want to abandon my gallery of happy and attentive faces here. So one way or another, we're going to find a way to work around it. To one way or another, I'm determined to carry on this group, even though it might mean a merger with another. So my intention that I hope I will be able to fulfill is not to abandon the group, because I enjoy it so much myself anyway. So there we are. Watch this space, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible over the course of the summer break to see what's happening. But anyway, I will see you all hopefully a week from now.
Thank you.
See you next week.
Thanks, James.
Bye then. Thank you. Bye.
I'd like to thank you, James. We have learned so much from you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I have learned so much from you. Thank you.
I'm very pleased to hear it, Oka. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, see you next week.
Inshallah.
Thank you.